Alright, so here's a review of the EZ-Jig Gen 3. All in all, I would say this was pretty easy to use. It's my first time using a jig like this, a router-based one instead of drilling, and yeah, it was pretty simple. Getting it all put together didn't take too long. Very simple, especially with as long as you pay attention to the included user manual, it makes it pretty easy to do. Came with extra parts since I was using the DeWalt, the DWP router. Ended up not needing. I already split all the little parts into bags. These are the parts I didn't end up using. This goes to a different kind of router. Never used those. But yeah, even with my setup here, which is pretty basic, not even like a really good firm base to secure it to. Obviously I've got my vise here, but this is just like a folding table, just a quick setup. It's just bolted onto that, so it's nothing too special. But even with that said, I didn't have any issues doing my milling. Didn't have any issues with the lower itself after I finished. Got it all put together, function tested it, and no problem so far. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this. I would say the only issues that I really noticed, and I wouldn't really, issues, quote unquote, was the fact that there were still some burrs that, weren't cleaned off of this when it arrived. Just the, the machined aluminum that it comes with before you assemble it. There were still little burrs and whatnot attached. But yeah, you can just wipe them off. It's really not a big deal. This thing goes together pretty simple. It's just, again, follow the directions. Make sure you're actually paying attention to how tightly you should be putting these things on. You're not over tightening, you're not under tightening. You're making sure that they align properly. Essentially the way you put the jig together is tighten these up in stages just like you would any other kind of thing you've got to torque down. So anybody who's done work on firearms or attachments like that where you're using little torque wrenches, you probably understand to go in a specific, the pattern to go back and forth, and not just like, okay, I'm going to really tighten this one down and then I'm going to tighten it. No, you go back and forth slowly until they're all in the right orientation. After getting the two bottom blocks attached, then you take the included, or at least in my case when I ordered it with the bits and with the speed mill 2B that goes with the DeWalt, which also worked really well. But you just take the included bits, in particular the biggest one. You're going to take your 3/8 and you're going to check the alignment with that. So you just basically put it through, feed it in there, and as long as that goes through straight, no issues, and you're good to go, and they're all squared away, set up properly and evenly. Another technique I saw, I forget the name of the YouTuber, the guy's video I watched did an incredible comparison between this and a couple other jigs. Showed how he measured after getting these attached, basically checked their alignment by just really easily just placing a straight edge on each side and making sure that they're aligned. That worked out pretty well for me. I did the same thing. But yeah, went really well. Here's also the just the unfinished, the 80% lower that you can order with them to go with it. So. Installation of this is also pretty easy, and yeah, they're clean. No problems on these guys that I've noticed. But yeah, pretty simple to install. It's just like remove your pit pin, or I guess it's not a pit pin, but just used to calling similar ones, and then basically slots on up there. Like I said, I already separated all these into little bags. This bag's got the back plate that holds on. So, got this guy. So, Obviously remove the little screws here because they fasten through the top. Oh, and you can see obviously which side's supposed to go where because that slots on the back. Line here. Yeah, just a nice loose threading to keep it attached. And then start threading that guy on. Good. Cool. Now you got those. You can grab your Allen key. So, and they recommend while you're doing the milling, just to go through and double check these every once in a while, make sure they're still tight. Obviously, you don't want this thing moving around while you've already begun to mill, because then you're going to end up with uneven milling on one side versus the other or something like that, or I mean, God forbid, another way worse issue. You don't want to ruin it. But yeah, these just kind of nice little gentle tighten down. You can see there, it's all set. This thing, you just tighten the same thing with that same Allen wrench. Put that through there. Just give it one good turn. Keep it on there nice and tight. And yeah, so you're going to check these screws while you're milling. I check these ones just in case as well, and keep those Allen ones good to go. The way I had this set up, right here on the vise. So just basically sitting there right like that. Tightened it down, good to go. This is for your, again, just kept these together. This is for getting your pilot hole all squared away. So this just slots down right here on the top. You screw it down, good to go. That's your pilot hole. And then that's obviously where you're going to start routing from. Very easy to do. The rest of the little parts here, these are just the spacers. So obviously you're going to go spacer number 1, which is the smallest, to the second biggest. After you finish all these levels, mill those levels, mill those ones, and then, you know, just small spacer to medium to big. Pretty easy. And the spacers are really easy to put on because of the way they are recessed to take the little screws that attach them. It's just that little Allen wrench right there. Actually, the part that goes on the router, at least for mine, pretty easy to attach, just the 4 screws right here. Same thing, you're just going to not tighten, you know, same rules. Don't tighten one down all the way, just go slowly. Okay, cool, a little bit, and just kind of go, you know, in your pattern back and forth. But yeah, attached easy. I would say for if anybody's doing this and they don't have a router yet, this DWP 611 worked really well for me. My only main issue, I mean, I took it really slow because it's summer and I didn't want the thing to overheat. I'd, you know, had read about the fact that if, while you're milling, if the speed mill gets too hot, then you run the risk of it melting the aluminum to it. This is, again, still in pretty good condition, very sharp, still good to go. For blade oil, I was using this right here, the cutting fluid. Worked really well for me, didn't have any problems. I think I'd heard of guys using kerosene mixes and stuff like that. That's what I had, so that's what I used. Might have been overkill, hard to tell. But yeah, all in all, like I said, very easy. You do the milling. Once you're done with the milling, you pop it off, secure it sideways, and then you're just going to drill your last holes for your trigger pins and for your safety selector, and that's it. You're good to go. You can get them done pretty quick. Took me probably, I don't know, I took my time, and obviously, like I said, it's summer, so I'm out here in the garage doing it. I would wait, basically take the router and the speed mill, leave them inside the house until they cool down, bring them back out here and do it. So it's not, still, even with that, it didn't take me more than a couple hours total. I guess you can get them done, and like, if you're really rushing and you know what you're doing, you can get them done in like 45 minutes to an hour for the whole thing. If you're comfortable doing that, do it. I was not, because, like I said, very, very warm here. But yeah, again, really like it. Definitely plan on making more. It's fun to do, easy to do, good little projects. If you're looking at getting a jig, I would highly recommend this one. Other than I mean, I'm not going to speak to like the lead times or anything like that. You know, like, what are you going to do? Sometimes things take a while to ship. Who cares? I ended up, I got it. I'm happy with it. I would definitely order it again, and I would recommend it to friends of mine. So, if you're looking to get a jig, this is definitely the way to go if you're a beginner. It was very simple. Yeah, just make sure you check the router compatibility with the speed mill, and then other than that, you should be good to go. And definitely, have a vise that you can fasten down. And obviously, like I said, even with just a plastic table, it still did the job. I didn't have any issues with mine. So anyway, hope you guys liked the review. See you.